Am I good, Kenny?
Good. Glad to hear it.
Can you hear me, Kenny? You good, Kenny? Y'all ready?
Wait a minute. Got the phone upside down. No wonder everything is crazy. That's why I couldn't make heads or tails of it.
Call to order the New Kent County Board of Supervisors, July 12th, 2020 regular board meeting to order. Mr. Tiller, will you lead us in the invocation pledge, please?
Please rise, please. Let us pray. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity that we can come here to conduct the business of this great county. Be with us now as we conduct this meeting and see that we do it in a manner that's most pleasing to you. Also be with the families that were involved this morning in that horrible accident, and be with our first responders as they go through this time. For these things we ask in your most holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Tiller.
You're very welcome.
Ms. Watkins, will you call the roll?
Mr. Evelyn?
Here.
Mr. Tiller?
Here.
Ms. Page? Here. Mr. Steers?
Here.
And Mr. Lockwood?
Here.
Welcome. Good evening to everyone out in the audience and everyone at home. We do have a fairly long agenda this evening, so let's get to it. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Did everybody have a chance to take a look at it? Mr. Hathaway, you have something?
Yes,
Oh, I did. Yeah, one thing about the agenda tonight I forgot to mention. Item public hearing, item 6, ordinance amendment OA-06-21 will be pulled from the agenda tonight.
well,
Is that-
I do have one comment regarding the consent agenda that I'd like to bring to your attention. If you look at item 3B, the FY22 supplemental appropriations, under item number 2 in the issue column, you'll see a request for funds for continuance of current Assistant Director of Financial Services in the amount of $83,815. Just wanted to explain that. As you know, Mr. Clark, Larry Clark, had originally announced his retirement last year. And we've been trying to fill that position for a little over a year because we knew that Larry was about to retire and had been unable to fill the position. And Larry has graciously stayed with us while we were looking for an Assistant Director of Financial Services. We have we have filled that position, and that position starts July 19th, which we're excited about. And Larry has offered to stay with us through the end of March. And if we do that, this is the cost of his salary, and that's his existing salary, to continue his position through the end of March, to assist with training the new position as well. March was chosen because that gets us through a budget cycle with our plans to present the FY23 budget to you at the February Board of Supervisors meeting, as is our normal practice. Just wanted to explain that. If you want to shorten that period, we can go back and look at that, and of course that would reduce the funding. But that amount of money is based on Mr. Clark staying with us through March of 2022.
Ms. Tiller?
I was going to ask Ms. Guthrie, are you happy with that? I mean, you think that's a good?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other board members have any comments or concerns? I mean, Larry, he probably knows the budget as good as anyone in the county front to back, so I really think his experience would be great and help him train the person for the new position, so I'm all in support of that.
We're excited about it, and we look forward to introducing the new position to you next month, too. It's Mei-Ling Q is the name, and she's coming to us from the City of Richmond Public School System. Lots of experience, and she'll do well.
No other comments or on the consent agenda? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Page?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented and that it be made a part of the record.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next, we have the citizens' comment period. Thank you. We have one person signed up. Just like to remind you that our citizens' comment period is 3 minutes long. We ask you to come up to the mic, state your name and address for the record. Ms. Sarah Buck.
Hi, good evening. I'm Sarah Buck with Cox Communications. I appreciate the opportunity to address the board this evening, and good evening, Chairman Evelyn and members of the board. For more than 20 years, Cox has been investing in New Kent County, providing connectivity for a majority of the county's residents and businesses. As the need for connectivity has grown, especially over the past 16 months, our teams have been actively working to find workable solutions to reach those who remain unserved in the county. Together, we partnered to successfully secure funding to complete a broadband expansion project at the end of 2020 using CARES Act funding, and although our requests from the state through the Virginia Telecommunications Initiative grant program have gone unawarded, we're hopeful that we can continue to partner on grant applications that would result in a wired broadband connection in the home for New Kent County residents. Today, there are even more funds being made available from the federal government to support broadband expansion projects to reach the unserved. It has been and remains my hope that the board will consider partnership opportunities with Cox. We've had the chance to chat with several board members and county staff about our network and expansion opportunities over the past several years, and would like a chance now to present something more formal at an upcoming work session later this month if possible. I thank you for your time this evening and sincerely appreciate your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you all plan on being at our work session?
We could schedule them for the July work session.
Because I know this board has a lot of questions, and I know we've been looking on a map for years for some type of commitment and work together to try to get more people hooked up to the broadband across the county, because it is the number one issue that our constituents have. So I think this board looks forward to meeting with you all on that. All right, I'll close the public comment period. The citizens comment period, sorry. Next is the Residency Administrator's Report.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mr. Hathaway. My name is Mark Harlow. I'll be giving the report from VDOT today. Hopefully you've all been issued your report earlier today or this week. Our maintenance crews continue to do road repairs for road surfaces, drainage, litter removal, signs, non-hard surface shoulders, and vegetation control. We've currently completed 2 rounds of primary mow. The crews are now working on their secondary mow, the first round of secondary mow, trying to complete that up. They're about 60% complete. This past month, we received 61 work requests. We completed 69. We had 12 emergency call-outs that range from tractor and trailer accidents, trees, high water, down trees, etc. Wanted to make a note in the back of the report, Route 60 corridor study that has been approved and will be moving forward on Pocahontas Trail. So there'll be more to come on that in the near future. Also, the Route 30 signs have been upsized to 50 miles an hour, and the reduced speed ahead signs have been installed. That's about all I have. If you guys have anything for me.
Mr. Steers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Arwood, sometimes it's the little things in life that go a long way and mean a lot. A couple weeks ago, I got a phone call from a little lady, and she was upset that she almost got hit by a truck coming out of her driveway. And she said she called VDOT several times, and I said, who did you speak with? And she said she don't know who she spoke with. She doesn't even know if she called the right number. Okay. So anyway, I called your guy, Joe Terry, and he wasn't available, so I called Andy Boggs, and I asked him if by chance if they were out mowing. He said they were on Highway 60, so he had one of his crew go over and mow the embankment for this lady. And she called me that night, cried, and said that she felt special. And it's those things that I think that VDOT does behind the scenes that you don't get credit for.
Right.
So
thank you. I
just wanted to make that comment. And the construction repaving going on 60 down in the Lenex area. Alan Myers has that contract.
Yep.
When they replace a slab with asphalt, are they intended to come back over and
Yes.
totally asphalt over it?
Yeah, they're in the patching process
Right.
right now. They'll patch it all out and then they'll come back through and overlay it
And is that proposed to be done this year?
this year. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
Ms. Stiller?
Yes, this study that you said you all approved, is that for Bottoms Bridge, that corridor from the Chickahominy River down?
That's Route 60, the entire corridor. They're gonna do a corridor study. That's gonna do studies on speed, signs, possible small projects in the area.
Traffic lights?
Yep, traffic lights, the whole 9 yards. So it's actually getting outsourced to a consultant. When we get more information on it, we'll be able to let y'all know.
Okay, thank you. That's it, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Lockwood? Ms. Lockwood,
If you would, when you go out there, Mr. Allgood, would you give me a call and let me know? I'd like to go along with you or to meet you out there and just kind of go over what's going on out there, because it's a little bit more than just her yard that's having an issue. So I'd like to make sure that we kind of cover it with some of the other neighbors too. Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Oh, if I may.
Yes.
When did y'all do the signs on 30? It had to be today.
They must have done today, because I talked to Philip this afternoon.
Okay,
He
all right.
told me they were done, so.
All right, thank you.
I spoke with Marshall a couple times. Did you all ever get out to Kentwood Farms on Hingham Drive and clean that culvert pipe out?
Where was that again?
Kentwood Farms, Hingham Drive.
I'm not sure if they, Jeff, do you know if they've got out there to that? Yeah, we'll have to follow up. We'll get back.
Could somebody let me know? Because Marshall, he's been telling me he's going to get it done for 2 months.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Page?
Don't get her started.
Okay, thank y'all.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a presentation from Thrive, Virginia.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Talking with Mr. Hathaway, noticed that we were told that you guys haven't been told briefed about Thrive Virginia's operations and kind of what we've been doing. As the New Kent representative, I just want to come up and I do want to apologize. Our executive director, her mom was brought to the emergency room this evening, and so I had a medical issue. So but she said she'll be more than willing to meet with every one of you whenever you guys want. Just give her a call. Just kind of an overview of what Thrive Virginia is. We provide 5 critical programs for the New Kent County residents: early childhood intervention and educational services, housing, financial counseling, domestic and sexual violence intervention and prevention services, whole family pilot, and financial emergency assistance. So far this FY 21, we have delivered services to 73 New Kent County households, totaling 509 individuals, and provided $43,000 in emergency financial assistance to strictly New Kent County residents. Some of the services that we have provided to New Kent County residents also include housing counseling for certified HUD counseling from a certified HUD counselor, financial education, summer camp for kids who have witnessed violence within their home. It could have been domestic violence or any other kind of violence of that nature. Home visiting services, and parental coaching to households referred to us by the Department of Social Services. Healthy relationship classes in schools, and advocacy services for victims of domestic violence and sexual violence. You guys all have the slide deck that we provided. Some of the outputs for FY20, and I brought Mr. Snyder, who is the president of the board and also our financial guy, and he could probably talk a little bit smarter on the financials.
Madam, gentlemen, Mr. Hathaway, good to see you. Just thank you all for your time this evening. And I know, I'm going to cut to the chase. I know one of the concerns is when you take taxpayer money and invest it, you need to see where it's going. I am very much aligned with providing greater transparency within all counties within our service area. And I know there's also some concerns about counties that contribute, such as New Kent, and counties such as my home county, Hanover, that does not. This output page really is showing you our cost to deliver programs. Essentially, these are the fully loaded allocations of federal, state, and municipal funds along with private donations that find their way into your community. These are essentially the cost to deliver services inclusive of what would be beneficial to the individual household. One of our goals is to ensure that that efficiency number, meaning dollars of grant money versus dollars that go back into the community, is transparent and continues to go up. And while we are aligned with community action agencies, there's always the opportunity for the agency to do better, and that's one of our key focuses in our strategic plan. Your support from localities, just to sum it up, it does help with undesignated funding, which allows us to maintain adequate reserves that are a requirement of certain community services block grant fundings that the agency receives, and enables us to fulfill needs within your communities that we may not be able to fulfill directly, and that's part of the agency. And as president and treasurer of the agency with our new leadership, one of our commitments is getting our face out there, getting back in the communities and partnering. And so that is something that we're here tonight. So we do appreciate your time and consideration, and always, if there are any questions, Joe, myself, or Ms. Barney in absentia can answer them for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
The one thing that we are asking is, and I know that we discussed it, but the amount that New Kent provides to this organization, the ROI, that the return of investment that we can give is almost tenfold on what, and hopefully I'm not misspeaking, but multitudes over what just a little bit that we do get from the county. The amount that goes back to the citizens of New Kent is just hands down. It's so much more. So we are asking, and like I said, I've spoken with Mr. Hathaway. The way I look at it as being the New Kent representative for the appointed by you to this organization, I'm supposed to, my job is to make sure I look out for the county and make sure that we're being represented properly on this board. And the amount of services that are being provided, there's just so many households that are benefiting just from that little bit that we've asked. The ROI way out exceeds what the citizens, what the constituents of this county are getting back. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll take your request and look at it and get back with you further.
Thank you all.
All right, we cannot start our public hearings until 7 o'clock, so let's move to elected officials reports. Mrs. Steers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'm proud to announce that a project that's been in the process since March, and it'll be come to fruition next Tuesday, and that is that Ace Hardware has purchased Providence Forge hardware. And they're expecting to spend quite a amount of money to expand the business, the building, enhance the building, and it's a group out of Williamsburg, Peninsula Ace, and they own 6 other Ace hardwares in Williamsburg, Hampton, Virginia Beach, and James City. And the Ace hardware in West Point is not one of their stores, just to let you know, because everybody thinks they are. But anyway, that'll be a new welcome business to District 4. Thank you.
Ms. Tiller?
I was going to ask Mr. Steer, is that the same group that's doing the one in Bottoms Bridge as well? That was the Source Hardware?
That's Pleasance.
Pleasance, okay. Well, I thought Pleasance went by Ace as well. No, okay.
Ms. Page?
Very brief. Just a couple of things. With all of the talk that's going on in the General Assembly about infrastructure, including broadband, water and sewer, and in our highways, I can say that we got notification that there is indeed another bill on the floor that will assist with interstate exchanges. And it was mentioned specifically the $100 million price tag for a major project, and that project is I-64 Widening, and it is from exit 205 to exit 234, I believe. And so I will be doing email blasts and Facebook blasts with names of representatives that we need to all contact and ask them to support it. Today is yet another example of the need for widening I-64, the hazards, not only what happened on I-64, but the potential of what could have happened on Route 249 with all the traffic being directed on the 249, especially coming out of Stage Road where people slow down and keep on moving. And so I just ask that that our residents, citizens of this county, please be as informed as possible. But if it's something that you want, then we need to contact our members of legislation and voice our opinion, because our voice absolutely matters. And then the only other thing I have, Mr. Chair, is in Mr. Tiller's prayer, and my prayer as well is for the families of those that were in the accident on I-64 this morning at 10 o'clock, and to our first responders, and just the appreciation of what our first responders do for not only our citizens, but our visitors and travelers through this county. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lockwood?
My mind is still in Alaska, so I have nothing this evening.
I just want to invite everyone out on Wednesday night. We're having the ribbon cutting of Pine Fork Park finally at 6:30. I'm not going to be able to attend, but I do have somebody that's going to be filling in. But I would like to thank this board, the Parks and Rec Commission, Kim Turner and Jason, for all the hard work that they put into finally making this thing happen. We've been talking about a park since I was elected in 2007, and I feel pretty good that we were able to build that park with very minimum impact to the taxpayers of New Kent County. So my hats go off to this board, and I thank Mr. Davis too, because he was on the board at one point when we approved funding. So with that, we'll go to staff reports. Mr. Hathaway.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to let the board know that this Thursday, the EDA will be considering the rail crossing grant program that you adopted at your last meeting, and I'll report back on the outcome of that. I've also sent to you for review drafts of letters to go to various public officials and agencies federal and state, requesting assistance with the signalized crossing at Ed Allen's campground and Rock Hot campground as well. Thank you.
Anybody have any other business?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have other business, but I do have an acknowledgement. And it has, ever since I was a little girl, and that's been many years ago, we always had representatives that would come to the Board of Supervisors meeting. And from that age until now, I just have to acknowledge and just let him know that we missed you. And that is for Mr. Ercue Travis, that becomes an informed and an active resident here in the county, and even as an older adult, takes the time to come up and realizes that county business is his business. So thank you, Mr. Travis, for being here.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Appointments delegated by district. District 2?
No, sir.
District 3? District 4 has none. District 5? Appointments not delegated by district. Anybody have any?
Yeah, I do.
I do too.
Mr. Chairman, I move to appoint Joe Swartout as a youth member of the, as an adult member of the New Kent County Youth Community Service Committee to serve as a 1 year, is that 3 year term for the adults? A 3 year term ending December 31st, 2024. And three. I get it, 2023. And also to, I move to appoint Peggy Spiak as adult member of the New Kent County Youth Community Service Committee to serve a 3 year term ending December 31st, 2023. And I move to appoint Tony Swartout as an adult member of the New Kent County Youth Community Service Committee to serve a 3 year term ending December 31st, 2023.
Will that be a youth appointment?
Adult.
Tony?
Adult.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And I move to appoint Mr. Colin Smolnick as a youth member of the New Kent County Youth Community Service Committee to serve a 1 year term ending December 31st, 2021. That's all I have.
I move to appoint Eric Blake as an at-large member of the Agriculture and Forestry District Advisory Committee to serve a 4 year term beginning January 1, 2021 and ending December 31st, 2024. There are no other appointments. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members?
Ms. Page?
Oh, we got one more. You have one. You have Noel.
I do.
Yeah.
Can I just make it at 2? I'll make it at 2.
Yeah, just work with me. There you go.
I move to appoint Ella Howell as a youth member of the New Kent County Youth Community Service Committee to serve a 1 year term ending December 31st, 2021. Or was that a 3 year term too? 1 year, okay. Any other?
Sorry, what was that name?
Ella Howell?
Mm-hmm.
Joel?
Jay?
Joel, Joel. Joel.
Joel.
Okay.
Sorry.
We're going to work on that, I promise.
Noel with a J.
I know.
Are there any other appointments? Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Guess we'll take about a 30-minute break and come back at 7 o'clock for the public hearing. Yeah.
We didn't have to do it right up. We had to blow this stuff. And then you can do a professional picture. Oh, yeah. This is working out really good. What do you think? I think so too. Yeah, I would have put more lipstick on already. See, you're supposed to do this today. Joe said it was. Go ahead.
Come right here. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Joe. Good to see you. Good to see you. How you doing?
Hopefully I didn't bomb it too bad.
No.
Because Gillian, when she called me this afternoon, she told me about her mom.
Yeah.
Instead of us cutting the, I'm like, I said, yeah, I can do it. I'm like, as soon as I said that, I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get there. I don't know. I ain't heard a whole lot about it. So some of the people will do that.
I know like this piece here, if you do anything in your district, community service project wise, let us know.
Okay.
We want to try to get.
Right.
I know Ron talked to me about Ron towards the community service.
Maybe I just reach out to us.
Yeah. If you know anything, let me know.
Okay.
Great to see you.
Let me get the official name of this committee. Is this new? What's that? This is a new organization. Set up maybe a month ago. Gotcha. We got this room project come up. I need 50 people. We only got 12. People should help out.
And I'll be there Wednesday
Once you get your stuff knocked out, we'll get it done, and they can check off their stuff.
Getting close now. Yeah, no. Getting close to the game, Mark.
There's stuff going back.
We can't be friends that day. Mind yours. Ben will probably be about 2 months. I don't think they played them since the national championship. They are. The quarterback might win the Heisman. Bryce Young, he's out of he's really good.
There's something in the either the proffers or in something where that space is gifted to the developer at some point, or That's our vacation.
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for being here tonight.
This field is out there on the Harrison side. They're good. I mean, they've been doing regular inspections out there. We haven't had any issues with the big grants. Most of them all up. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I've been happy with Eastville and she's yeah. So they do a nice job. Yeah, they do. I know.
My buddies.
So we're going to have an Alaska slideshow starting at about 7 o'clock if you guys want to.
At 7 o'clock, we will start the public hearing. We have 12 public hearings this evening. First one is an ordinance amendment OA-02-21, amendment to the Chapter 82, Article 5 of the New King County Code. Environmental Director Josh Allegra. That's not right. Allegra. Sorry about that, Josh.
Oh, it's all good. Good evening. This ordinance amendment is basically a required update due to some changes at the state level that occurred during the 2020 legislative session. Senate Bill 776 was adopted last year and directed the Virginia Marine Resources Commission, or VMRC, to permit only living shoreline approaches to shoreline management unless the best available science shows that such approaches are not suitable. As part of Senate Bill 776, New Kent's Wetland Zoning Ordinance must be amended to require that an application for the use or development of any wetland include a statement indicating whether the use of a living shoreline as a shoreline management practice is not suitable, including reasons for that determination. Our Wetland Zoning Ordinance charges the local Wetlands Board with reviewing applications involving tidal wetland impacts to both prevent the destruction of wetlands and to accommodate necessary economic development. Senate Bill 776 requires the addition of language to ensure the protection of shorelines and sensitive coastal habitats from sea level rise and coastal hazards using the guidelines and minimum standards promulgated by VMRC and the Code of Virginia. If y'all have any questions, I'll be happy.
Anybody have any questions?
Do we have a choice? I guess that's my only question.
It's just another state mandate, right?
Yep, with no funding.
Yeah, and it only affects a small portion of property owners, and it's not something that really changes our policy. It's something that, you know, we're not going out to say you need to correct your shoreline erosion. We're saying, you know, they come to us and say, we want to correct this, and we just guide them through the process, and the application needs to state why or why not for a living shoreline.
All right. If there are no questions, I'll open the public hearing.
There are no individuals signed up for any of the 12 public hearings.
Okay.
Nobody signed up for any of the public hearings.
Up to 12, she said.
Okay. So I will close comment period. Is there any comments from the board? We'll close the public hearing. None, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve Board of Supervisor Ordinance O-13-21.
Thank you, Ms. Tiller. Ms. Watkins, will you poll the members, please?
Mr. Sears?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Public hearing ordinance amendment OA-03-21, amendment to section 91-94 of the New King County Code Ordinance O-14-21. Mr. Gray?
Good evening. How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Tonight I will be presenting 3 subdivision ordinance amendments. The first one will remedy a discrepancy between the subdivision ordinance and the fire code, which has caused some confusion for developers. It will also help with access and safety in case of a fire emergency. The fire code requires that fire apparatus access roads shall have an unobstructed width of not less than 20 feet, where our code, or our ordinance, currently has an 18-foot requirement. Staff recommends approval of Ordinance Amendment OA-03-21. The Planning Commission considered this submission at their meeting on June 21st and voted to forward a favorable recommendation to you all.
Anybody have any questions? Mrs. Steers?
Mr. Gray, do we have any subdivisions that exist today with only 18 feet wide entrance?
I don't have that answer, but I imagine that there probably are, just with the amount of roads.
Yeah, would they be grandfathered? Will they be grandfathered?
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, this will be increasing off of that
Okay.
standard. So just to kind of be consistent and aligned
Okay.
with the fire code. Because the fire code was updated in 2015. So.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So
Ms.
is
Page?
it gonna be added in the language?
It doesn't have to be. I mean, it's, you can't go
I
back.
mean, Brendan might not be here if he says.
This would only apply to new subdivisions.
All right, so I will open the public hearing. No one signed up, so I'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it again, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Tiller?
And we are at item 3, correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve BOS Ordinance O-14-21.
Thank you, Ms. Tiller. Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Item 4, ordinance amendment OA-04-21, amendment to section 91-127 of the New Kent County Code, ordinance O-15-21. You got it?
Yeah. The second subdivision ordinance amendment is to provide clarification that any subdivision type, including cluster open space subdivisions of 8 or more lots, is considered a major subdivision and is required to have a community water system as approved by the Public Utilities Department. When the subdivision ordinance was amended back in 2016, the language was added to the classification, but it wasn't particularly added to the cluster portion of the subdivision ordinance. This will kind of help alleviate any confusion with developers instead of making them have to go search for 2 or 3 different parts of the ordinance. Staff recommends approval of Ordinance Amendment OA-04-21. The Planning Commission considered this amendment at their meeting on June 21st and voted to forward a favorable recommendation.
Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Ms. Page?
So if you have a subdivision and you have 8 houses, you have to connect to water and sewer?
No, ma'am, it'd be a community water system. It's not, this is outside of service districts, which are already identified by public utilities. This would be just for the water system, not sewer as well. It'll be a community well that they'd have to put in, which is designed and built to the standards in Section 38-62. It has to be approved by the Director of Public Utilities. This is actually identified in the water portion of the subdivision ordinance, And basically, when 2016 we went from 21 lots down to 7, which was identified as a minor. If you go 8 or more, you get into that major subdivision category, and at that point you have to do the well system. But 7 or below, you can do individual septic and water, or well.
Okay.
It's already identified in one portion of our ordinance, so we're trying to align and identify it specifically in clusters.
Ms. Tiller?
So is that just new subdivisions that are started now? How far back?
It's actually since 2016 when it was adopted.
So if it's 7 homes or more, they have to have a central water system?
8 or more.
8 or more?
Yes, sir.
So then what's the central water system?
Or they can tie into the
Well,
county.
if they're in a service district, at
Right.
that point they can
Right.
tie in.
Because I'm just thinking that newest subdivision on Henpeck Road, there's more than 8 homes in there. But it seems
I
the
believe
house
that was actually started before, it was grandfathered in. I believe that was the last
before
one to get in.
2016.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I was wondering because I know good
Yeah.
well. I saw them digging a well in somebody's front yard.
They actually got the plans in, I believe, before all of that actually took into effect.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, I'll open the public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Page?
I move to accept, the ordinance, 0-15-21.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Ms. Watkins? Will you poll the members?
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Item 5, ordinance amendment OA-05-21, amendment to section 91-103 of the New Kent County Code. Ordinance O-16-21.
The third subdivision ordinance amendment is to provide consistency between the private street standards and what VDOT currently requires for low-volume roads and subdivision streets, specifically regarding the requirement of a paved surface. We've had a lot of issues with gravel roads in the county that were never intended to serve as many lots as they have. As well as people are going into a lot of road maintenance agreements that are not being enforced or cannot be enforced or not being maintained as well. And what's happening is that they're going to VDOT and asking for VDOT to take over the maintenance of these roads. And with VDOT's latest new standards, they're not accepting it because of the gravel design. That's what was relayed to us by VDOT representatives. So we're trying to more or less be consistent with how their standards are going to be. Staff recommends approval of ordinance amendment OA-05-21. The Planning Commission considered this amendment at their meeting on June 21st and voted to forward a favorable recommendation.
And it's my understanding, I think we talked about this today, the 25-acre lots, you can still have gravel roads.
Correct. That's because it's a specific subdivision of large
By
lot.
right
Right.
subdivision.
You just put an unimproved 50-foot needed right of way. There's no improvements required on that. And as well as the 15 acres, they have to front public roads. So that kind of alleviates that problem. More or less, you're getting where you have private roads that are gravel and people are wanting to keep adding on, and either A, they don't have road maintenance agreements, or they're adding to it and they're not getting any better. And then they want to go to VDOT, and VDOT's basically, so we're trying to, align with them and get it from the start, more or less. So that way you don't have that problem in the future.
I think the problem is I talked to someone a couple months ago and they were having that same issue. And you get some people that are willing to help and others don't.
Yeah.
The person that lives at the end of the road, they don't care because everybody else is taking care of their section and they have a good road to ride on to get there. So
I had a call like that not too long ago, maybe I think last week.
Yeah.
And now they're kind of in a legal bind with everyone, their neighbors, so.
If I may,
Ms. Loughlin?
so how do we alleviate the issue of them adding additional lots down the road? I mean, if they start the road and it's gravel, and then they add lots, see, it sounds like that's more the problem is, you know, they're not meeting the requirement because it's not required up front. But then when they want to develop more, who does that fall on? The new development or the existing occupants? How does that work? How would that work?
I would have to look into that and figure out whether that road would be.
I think you have to stub into your,
Yeah.
whenever your subdivision ends, you have to stub your road into the next piece of property. So if it's state, it's gotta be a state spec road, so if anybody else wants to do some development behind it, they would just have to connect to that road.
Yeah, but what if you had a situation where, you know, you had a couple of 25-acre lots and they didn't require the road, but then down the road a little further, you wanted to add 6 more homes that weren't 25 acres? How would you handle the road stretch that, would it be gravel? Would it go gravel to a paved road then, or I guess it would have to be 8 or more homes, or?
No, we've had this situation actually just right down the road on Shooter's Run, where we've had proposed subdivisions that required a public road, but the only thing they could connect to was a private gravel road, and therefore we've told applicants that you have to. You can only connect a public road to a public road. So they would have to find a way to get right of way to build a road all the way out to the nearest public road. Or they could not do the
or they could
subdivision.
Come into an agreement with the owner of the private road and pave it for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So plain English, what is this saying?
More or less is the fact that, you know, you're getting these people with having all these additional homes. You know, as you all know, we're a growing place, and people are, you know, road maintenance agreements. Not every road has one, and so more or less, this is trying to help alleviate from the beginning where you don't get into those big, massive road maintenance agreements, and if they were to get into one and they wanted to go to VDOT maintenance, it would be much easier for VDOT to take over.
It doesn't matter if the road is asphalt or if the road is gravel to be a state-maintained road. Or is VDOT saying, no, to be state-maintained, it has to be an asphalt road?
That's what was relayed to us. Yeah.
Anything new.
Okay.
Anything new.
I'm good.
So we're trying to catch it from the beginning, and that way you don't have that problem going down.
All right. Did I do the public hearing? Okay. I open the public hearing. No one has spoke or signed up. I'll close the public hearing. Any other comments? None. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Tiller.
I move to accept the Board of Supervisor Ordinance O-16-21. I think I'm on the right one.
I got 05, but no one got struck, right?
Yeah. 05.
No, I was going by the ordinance number on where the motion was. Because it's listed as 2 different ordinances, OA 0521, and at the end it says Code Ordinance O-16-21.
Yeah, I see that.
But on the book, for the motion, it's got.
Well, we're amending it with the OA, correct? To the existing ordinance that is the O-16.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ms. Tiller. Ordinance O-16-21. That's right. You're right.
That's correct. O-16-21 is the ordinance before you.
That's right. Thank you, Ms. Tiller.
Sure. Glad I could help.
Mr. Watkins, Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Ms. Page? Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. We have removed item 6 from tonight's public hearing. Thank you, Mr. Gray.
Thank you.
Next up, item 7, AFD-01-21, recreation of the Diaskin Creek AFD ordinance O-18-21. Ms. Adams.
Good evening. Tonight, we're looking at the special use districts that are designated under the New Kent County Code, Chapter 62, and State Code 15.2-43. In summary, we have 2 renewals of the districts tonight. One is for the Diaskin Creek, which is 123 parcels that wish to renew, and 53 parcels in the York River District, recreating that district as well. We have 10 parcels that are wanting to be added by 6 landowners, and those are under the applications 3 through 8. Staff recommended approval on all 8 applications. As you know, we did the moratorium last year that prevented us from renewing these 2 districts or adding any parcels last year, so that's before you tonight. The Planning Commission also approved all the applications, and the AFD Advisory Committee approved all applications except for application number 7 based on a distance criteria rather than the significance of the land. And you have the meeting packet, so I'll answer any questions that you may have on any of the applications.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Adams? I will say again, it was put together very well. A lot of work I know goes into doing that. But it looks like all the applications were pretty straightforward this year, and Planning Commission recommended approval on all of them. So does anybody have any questions, comments for Ms. Adams? All right. Well, I'll open the public hearing on the first one.
Yes, Mr. Chair, that would be item number 7, AFD-01-21, recreation of Diaskin Creek AFD.
Yep, that's the one already.
Yeah.
Yep. No one signed up? I'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt ordinance O-18-21 to approve application AFD-01-21 to recreate the Diaskin Creek AFD for a term of 10 years.
Thank you, Ms. Tiller. Any comments? Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next, we'll have the public hearing on AFD-02-21, recreation of the York River AFD, ordinance O-1921. No one signed up? Close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion if there's no comments. Ms. Page?
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt ordinance O-19-21 approving application AFD O-2-21 to recreate the York River Agriculture and Forestry District for a term of 10 years with the exception of tax map parcel 38-31, which no longer qualifies.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next public hearing, AFD-03-21, additions to the Pelham Swamp AFD ordinance O-20-21. I'll open the public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt ordinance O-20-21 approving application AFD-03-21 to add tax map parcel 23-2-7 and tax map parcel 23-42 to the Pelham Swamp AFD.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Item 10, public hearing AFD-04-21, additions to the Putney Creek AFD, ordinance O-21-21. I'll open the public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion. All right, I'm doing my part. Y'all can read the motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt ordinance 0-21-21 approving application AFD-04-21 to add tax map parcel 3-19 to tax map parcel 3-1-19A to the Putney Creek AFD.
Thank you, Ms. Page. Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Ms. Page? Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Next, item 11, open public hearing for AFT-05-21, additions to the Upper Chickahominy AFD, ordinance O-22-21. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion.
I did my part.
I'll go for 4.
All right, Mr. Steers, you do 12. Mr. Lockwood, do 13.
We're on 11, right?
11, yes.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I move to adopt ordinance O-2221 approving application AFD 0521 to add tax map parcel 35-20 GPIN H23-1231-3697 to the Upper Chickahominy Agricultural and Forestal District.
Thank you, Mr. Tiller. Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Item 12, public hearing AFD-06-21, additions to Diaskin Creek AFD, ordinance O-23-21. Open the public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Steers?
I move to adopt ordinance 0-23-21 approving application AFD 06-21 to add tax map parcel 35-20 GPIN H23-1231-3697 and tax map parcel 35-21 GPIN 123-0666-2125 to the Dyson Creek Agriculture and Forestry District, and please do not ask me to repeat it.
I will not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steers. Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Mr. Steers?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Item 13, public hearing AFD-07-21, additions to Crump Swamp AFD ordinance O-24-21. Open public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion. Mr. Lockwood.
I finally found one.
Thank you. About
I
time.
move to adopt ordinance O-24-21 approving application AFD-07-21 to add tax map parcel 21-55 GPIN K11-3729 through 3895 to the Crump Swamp Agricultural and Forestal District. Don't ask me to repeat it.
Gotcha. Thank you, Ms. Lockwood. Ms. Watkins, poll the members, please.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Final public hearing of the night, item 14, AFD-08-21, additions to Holtz Creek AFD, ordinance O-25-21. Open the public hearing. No one signed up. Close the public hearing. All right, somebody's got the honors.
Mr. Chairman,
Ms. Lockwood.
I move to adopt ordinance O-25-21 approving application AFD-08-21 to add tax map parcel 24 through 35A GPIN L20-3287 through 4013 and tax map parcel 24-51 GPIN M20 2086-0051 to the Holtz Creek Agricultural and Forestal District.
Thank you, Ms. Lockwood. Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Ms. Page? Aye. Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Thanks again, Ms. Adams, for all your work on this.
Sorry we went through such a waste.
Anybody have anything else this evening? The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Supervisors will be held at 6 p.m. on Monday, August 9th, 2021. And the next work session will be held at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, July 28th, 2021, both in the boardroom of the County Administration Building. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Tiller. Ms. Watkins, poll the members.
Mr. Steers?
Aye.
Mr. Lockwood?
Aye.
Mr. Tiller?
Aye.
Ms. Page? And Mr. Evelyn?
Aye. Adjourn.